Hello everyone. Welcome to the next session of International Human Resource Management. So in our previous slides we have already discussed the concept of expatriate management. What are the challenges that the organization have to face in case of expatriate management. So after this we come to the next topic, and that is training and development in international context. So careful selection is not only the first step. Careful selection is only the first step in ensuring the foreign assignee's success. The expatriate may then require proper orientation, cross-cultural training, assistance in career planning and development, etc. So in order to handle the assigned job in a competent way, it becomes quite imperative for the organization to design and impart the training to the expatriate who is going to perform the international assignments. So moving further, now we have to see that how in what way the organization is imparting training to the expatriates so that they can perform well on the international assignments. So the first phase comes with the orientation. International position requires an extensive orientation to familiarize the employee with culture, language and other unique aspects of the assignment. So familiarization trips could also be arranged for the prospective expatriate so that they can actually visit the country of their posting and live like natives there for a while. So the orientation program generally cover areas such as, it is divided into three parts as we can see here. First is pre-arrival orientation, then it is during stay, and then is post-arrival orientation. So when we talk about pre-arrival orientation, the first is cultural briefing. In cultural briefing, explaining the traditions, customs, living conditions, clothing and housing requirement, health stipulations, these are the main things which are covered under the training program. In case of assignment briefing, the light on the length of the assignment has been done, how much vacations will be given, what will be the compensation package, tax implications and repatriation policies. So these are the basic things which are discussed under assignment briefing. Third is shipping requirement. Shipping, packaging, storage, housing facility in the new location. So all these things come under the pre-arrival orientation. When we talk about post-arrival orientation, the first thing that comes into it is cross-cultural training. So differences in culture, language and laws may make it difficult for the global employees to be on track quickly. In order to lead a normal life, they need cross-cultural as well as language training. The failure to provide such training may create adjustment problems for the expatriate manager and the resultant cultural shock. Cultural shock is basically the inability to adjust to a different cultural setting, so which may compel the expatriate to quit the field altogether. Firms can help employees avoid cultural shock, of course, by using selection tools to choose the employee with the highest degree of cultural sensitivity. So an important part of the expatriate managers training further should be an overview of the legal and ethical issues that are likely to be encountered on the overseas assignment. Next, if we talk about the career development in this, the expatriate's motivation to do well on an international assignment is primarily dependent upon the following things, upon the certain things. First, whether the present assignment would help the expatriate to learn new things. It will help him to expand his knowledge, create a unique position for himself in the organization ladder and grow vertically within the firm once the job is successfully completed. Additionally, whether the expatriate is enjoying continued support from the headquarters or not. So this is what we have to understand in case of international training and development. Now moving further, first we have to understand that how training and development can be divided into two parts. So training and development, the first part is cross-cultural training. As we have discussed already in the previous slide, that we need to impart the training to the people regarding cross-cultural communication. So cross-cultural communication occurs when people move from more than one culture communicate with each other. Okay, so there are various dimensions under it like language, gestures, traditions, rules of etiquette, meaning of distance, cultural context, stereotyping. Additionally, it also includes one more thing, that is a training rigor, extent of effort by both trainees and trainers required to prepare the trainees for expatriate positions. So now moving further with the training rigor, we can see that here the training rigor can be divided into two parts. One is low rigor training and other is high rigor training. Now see what we are doing in case of low rigor training. The first thing is, in case of low rigor training, it is this type of training is for a shorter time duration. Second, these kind of training is generally given by the help of the different kind of lectures and the videos that are available regarding the local culture, so that the person can accommodate it and he should have a good knowledge about the local culture. Third is briefing on company's operations. So there are various modes through which briefing on company operations can be given to the expatriate. Next comes the high rigor training. So high rigor training, it continues for a longer time duration, so it can extend over a month time. It is a experiential training wherein people or the individual, they understand, they go through the experience, and based on the experience they learn certain things. It includes extensive language training. So extensive language training is quite essential when we talk about the cross-cultural communication, because if we talk about the example, the soft drink Fresca was marked in Mexico without a change of brand name. So the company later discovered that Fresco is a slang for lesbian in Mexico. So a Romanian hotel posted a notice for its English-speaking guests that the elevator was not working. The notice read, "The lift is being fixed. For the next few days, we regret that you will be unbearable." So when GM's theme, "Body by Fisher," was translated into Finnish, read, "It caused by Fisher." When Barif Airlines translated it, "Fly Leather," slogan for its Latin America campaign. So we have to understand how the culture of one nation is different from the culture of the other nation. Last, it includes interaction with the host country national. You have to interact and you have to develop, you have to understand the various communication patterns by interacting with the host country nationals. Now through this diagram, we will try to understand how the training rigor vary from low to high. Starting from a training rigor, we can see in case of low, the technique that is being used to give or to impart the training is lectures or videotapes, reading background material, all these things. So objective in this case is to provide background information on host country business and national culture. Basic information on company operation is imparted in this. When we talk about a medium rigor, technique in this case is intercultural experiential learning exercise. It is done by the help of role playing, doing some simulation exercising, case studies, survival language training, and objective in this case is build general and specific knowledge of host country culture, reduces ethnocentrism. Last, which includes, is high. Here we can see the technique relates with the field trip to the host country. It also includes meeting with the managers experienced in host country, meeting with the host country nationals. It requires intensive language training. So objective here in this case is developing comfort with the host country national culture, business culture, and social institutions. So this is how the training rigor vary from low to high. Now through this diagram, we will try to understand how the rigor of the training relates to the basic expatriate assignment conditions. So here we can see that the assignment characteristics, if the assignment is short in nature, it is almost of similar culture, it is low to moderate job responsibility, and it is low need to communicate with the locals. So in this case, a low training rigor will be there, so that number of hours the training will be provided will vary from 4 hours to 20 hours, and then it depends upon the content or the characteristics of the assignment whether we have to go for the moderate training rigor or not. Now coming to how a high training rigor is taken into consideration or moderate training rigor is taken into consideration. If we have to impart high training rigor, the characteristics of assignment will be, it is a long assignment, the culture will be totally dissimilar, and it requires, it needs on the part of the expatriate to understand the culture of the other nation. It includes a high job responsibility. It also demands I need to communicate with the locals, and because of this it goes for a high training rigor which extend for more than 160 hours. So this was all under the training and development in case of international assignment. Thank you. We will be very soon we will be coming up with the new content in case of international human resource management. Thank you everyone.